It's 4:30 on WKYT. 2 weeks ago, police began investigating a Kentucky school board chairman who did not have a valid high school diploma. Now that chairman is accused of cheating on a GED exam. We'll have more on that investigation coming up this morning.
A man has been arrested in Clay County. Police say he mooned officers and 911 employees.
And the state is planning to make changes to some roads where several people have died in car crashes. When those changes will occur, ahead on WKYT this morning.
This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning. Nice to have you with us on this Thursday on WKYT. I'm Bill Bryant.
And I'm Michelle Chamberlain. Thanks so much for joining us. What a great day it's going to be.
Pretty good.
Despite some rain.
That's right. But, you know, we need it.
Yes,
in many cases, the lawns are requesting that, I think. So let's check in with meteorologist Micah Harris. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. I know my lawn is. That is for sure. Yeah, the much-needed rain is on its way. It's not a lot. You're not going to get a lot of heavy rain out of these 2 days, today and tomorrow, but it does look like we'll at least get some rain chances in here. Out and about at this moment, not much going on. We do have a few sprinkles here and there, but for the most part, rain is still back toward the west. Temperatures, look at Richmond at this moment. Madison County, 70 degrees as you step out the door this morning. It is a really nice feel at this moment, but let me tell you, we get into your afternoon, we'll have hit and miss showers, thunderstorms. This is no widespread rain. You will have big breaks in the action of dry weather with temperatures there in the mid-70s. So it's actually a really nice feeling day in the forecast. I'm going to show you who has the better chance of rain coming up.
And let's get to the news this morning.
A Kentucky school board chairman became the center of controversy when it came to light that he didn't have the high school diploma needed to qualify for the job. Now Dexter Smith, head of the Knox County School Board, is under investigation after police say he cheated in an attempt to correct the problem.
This surveillance video allegedly shows Smith having someone else take a GED test for him. WKYT's Monique Blair has more details on this now perjury investigation.
So what I decided to do was go back and get my GED to kind of stop the talk and all this stuff.
2 weeks ago, in a tearful interview with the media, Dexter Smith said he got his GED to put an end to the controversy that he didn't have a valid high school diploma. But then Kentucky State Police opened an investigation into the validity of that GED.
We can now confirm that Mr. Smith did not take the GED exam himself. We have learned that an individual took that exam for him.
This is surveillance video from the Jackson County Adult Education Center where police allege someone took the exam for Smith. Knox County Superintendent Kelly Sprinkles says he was surprised to hear the allegations against Smith. He says he wants everyone in the school system to be viewed in a positive light.
It has been a distraction, but we really want to continue to focus on student achievement.
The question remains as to why Smith went to Jackson County to take the exam. Larry Bryson, the attorney for the Jackson County Board of Education, says the woman who allegedly took that exam for Smith was a longtime employee of the school system. Shortly after state police launched their investigation, the Jackson County Board of Education also opened an investigation on their end.
We began our investigation on Friday, and she subsequently retired this past Monday.
And the school board's attorney says that to his knowledge this is an isolated incident and has not occurred in the past. The GED test service announced yesterday it has suspended all testing at the Jackson County Test Center pending a full investigation. Smith does not face any charges at this time. State police say they plan to present the case, though, to a Knox County grand jury.
Investigators are looking for the person who shot a man outside a Nicholas County home yesterday evening. The shooting happened around 7 on Gravel Road in Nicholas County. The victim had to be flown to UK Hospital for his injuries. WKYT's Garrett Weimer talked to Nicholas County deputies.
The Nicholas County Sheriff is not saying much at this point, but we do know the victim here was flown to the hospital with what investigators call serious injuries, and we also know the shooter is still on the loose. Gravel Road is a rural road that runs off Route 36 in Moorfield. Folks say it's normally a quiet road. The lights bathed the street in blue outside this home after deputies say a man here was shot several times. The victim's nephew tells me his uncle was alert and talking. Still, I'm told he was flown to UK with what the sheriff calls serious injuries. Investigators on scene were tight-lipped about the case. saying it's an ongoing investigation and they're working to pursue leads that could help them find the shooter. I did ask the sheriff if he could confirm that it was a drive-by shooting, as we had heard. His answer, quote, pretty close to that. That's about all we know so far about the circumstances surrounding the shooting. And even though information is still limited at this point, it was enough to really shake up some of the people I talked to who live nearby here. In Nicholas County, Garrett Weimer, WKYT.
There's no word on the victim's condition. Lexington police arrested 2 robbery suspects yesterday after their victim saw them while he was with police. Police say the victim flagged officers down at the 7th and Pemberton around 5 yesterday evening. They say he reported that 2 people pointed a gun at him and demanded money. The man and woman got away with a cell phone and cash. The suspects were arrested on unrelated charges and taken in for questioning.
New this morning, an overnight fire has destroyed a Lexington home, leaving 5 people without a place to live this morning. Firefighters were called to Price Road just before midnight. They say 4 people were in the house at the time of the fire and no one was injured. Firefighters contacted the Red Cross to help the people who are living there find somewhere to go. Police have identified the remains of a body found in Harlan County last month. State police say it was Tommy Ingersoll. He had been missing for several days before police found his body in a wooded area in the Kaywood community. Police say Michael and Kayla Curtis kidnapped Ingersoll and murdered him. A grand jury indicted them on murder, kidnapping, and other charges, and they are expected to enter pleas this morning.
Police have identified the victim of a shooting yesterday outside a Lincoln County home. The shooting happened at a home on Powell Street in Stanford. Police say an intoxicated man threw a bottle at 29-year-old Joshua Dooley and fired a gun at him after Dooley threw the bottle back. Dooley was taken to UK Hospital. Police say it's surprising Dooley was the only one hurt.
We had 3 other parties in the house at the time. The bullets did pass through the exterior wall and missed a couple of the parties very closely.
Dooley suffered a wound to the abdomen but is expected to recover. Police have taken 29-year-old Benjamin Anderson into custody. He is charged with 2 counts of wanton endangerment. The investigation into the shooting continues. And a man faces charges for mooning police and dispatchers in Clay County. Investigators say Clinton Sizemore Jr. stopped in the road next to the Manchester Police Department, pulled down his pants, and patted his backside. According to police citation, he also made an obscene hand gesture before jumping back in his truck and driving off. He is charged with indecent exposure, disorderly conduct, and reckless driving.
Coming up on 4:38 on WKYT, and the State Transportation Cabinet is planning to make changes to a road where several people, including a father and son, have died in car crashes. The state will spend $2.5 million to straighten out a dangerous curve on Stamping Ground Road. Trevor Spencer, his 3-year-old son Skylar, and Corey Wilcoxon died in a crash at that spot in October of 2014. Spencer's fiancée and his father have been fighting for the change ever since.
The shock still hasn't wore off. His father and I we haven't even begun to grieve, kind of just threw ourselves in this project.
In 2015, a man died there in a crash as well, just days after the state installed signs to warn drivers about the curve. The changes are expected to be completed by 2019. Richmond police are making sure a fallen officer will not soon be forgotten. Tomorrow, the department will hold a ceremony to rename the police building in honor of Officer Daniel Ellis. Ellis was shot and killed during a robbery investigation last November. The Richmond City Commission has approved the plan. A memorial plaque will be unveiled during Friday's ceremony.
Governor Bevin has issued an executive order removing the chairman of the Kentucky Retirement System's Board of Trustees. He says the removal of Thomas K. Elliott will give the board a, quote, fresh start. Former Governor Steve Beshear reappointed Elliott to the board last year. Now, Elliott's term didn't expire until 2019. This morning, the Retirement Systems Board will meet. Members are expected to re-elect Elliott as a chairman. The KRS executive director says the governor does not have the authority to remove Elliott.
Okay, so we'll see where that one goes. Our time this morning, 4:39 on WKYT this morning, and we are just getting started.
Having parental support is important for any child. It's especially important for transgender children, as they may face a lot of public scrutiny. We'll have advice on how to provide that support up next on today's Mom's Everyday Minute.
Looking at some rain in the forecast for today, and it goes for tomorrow too, but what about your weekend? I'll have all that coming up next.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
Looking at it, a little rain as we look back toward the west. Some sprinkles over toward the western areas, but none of that's really causing any problems early this morning. So as you're walking out the door, I don't see much of a rain chance during much of your morning hours. It's only a slight chance, okay? So the most of the rain comes during the afternoon. And I say most of it. Remember, this is only a 40% chance of rain today. So not everybody will actually see rain today. And it looks like a lot. It's a big wall of some just showers, really, and not so much thunderstorms. And it's making its way toward us, but also it's going to start to fall apart. There's just not much energy with this system. And that's why we expect no severe weather today and none tomorrow. This is just beneficial rain to the yards, what you do pick up. Remember, it's not a lot of rain expected. 70 degrees right now in Richmond. We're at 64 in Lexington and also Mount Sterling and Moorhead. Coming in at 68 degrees. Monticello, my friends down south in Wayne County, it's 70 degrees. I mean, that's an awesome feeling when you step out the door. Trust me, you will not need a coat this morning. You definitely won't need it by the afternoon, obviously. We're going to be right around 75 degrees later on today. And it looks like a really rainy day, but remember, when we put these icons in here, we're not putting just clouds, just rain. We're throwing some sunshine in there, letting you know that some of us won't see rain today, some of us will. And it's one of those days that it's just some spotty showers, a few rumbles of thunder as we approach the afternoon hours and overnight and into tomorrow. Guess what? The rain chance does continue. Let's go hour by hour. Here's tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. And I do believe Friday is now your better looking chance to actually see some rain in the forecast. But that's still spotty. It's not one line of rain. It's going to be moving on through. Look at the bits and pieces here and there. Yeah, it's pretty widespread in terms of it covers a lot of our viewing area, but it's just not heavy rain tomorrow either. So it's just one of those back-to-back days that you're just going to look for that rain chance. I would still stick to any plans that you have going on. Just know that you have a chance to have a little water falling out of the sky, and that's going to be today and tomorrow. Going in towards your Saturday and Sunday, those days look really good, guys. 73 on Saturday, 80 degrees on Sunday. It's perfect weather for anything you have going on this weekend, especially outdoors. Great weather for it. You got to go.
Keeneland kind of days or get work done kind of days.
No doubt about it. Either way.
Your choice. Our time this morning is 4:45. Parental support is incredibly important for kids who come out as transgender.
In today's Mom's Everyday Minute, an expert has some advice on how to provide that support.
Our society's understanding of what it means to be transgender is growing as more and more transgender people share their stories and experiences. Thankfully, there are also many resources for parents of a transgender child. We spoke with psychotherapist Megan Smith-Salins about transgender youth.
The first and foremost is love your kid. Love them for who they were yesterday, who they are today, and who they might be tomorrow. So love your kid. 2, be curious about who your kid is. The other thing is get support. And support can look like extended family, friends, religious communities, or it can look like a support group with other parents who are raising gender-expansive youth, or even a really a mental health provider that's well-versed in working with the gender-expansive youth. When children have access to support services themselves, that can be really helpful with lowering feelings of isolation, depression, anxiety, things like that. We know from the research that when families accept, and even if they can get to a place of celebrating their kid's identity, not just accepting, but celebrating, these kids need that.
For more ways to make mom's life easier, visit momseveryday.com.
For these tips and more, just go to WKYT.com and click on Moms Every Day.
And there you'll find the latest news and weather, of course, as well on WKYT.com. 4:47 is the time. It's your Thursday. A lot more news on the way.
Yes, there is. California authorities have discovered a tunnel housing several tons of drugs on the state's border with Mexico. More on that investigation when we come back on WKYT This Morning.
Welcome back. It's 4:50, 10 till 5 on WKYT This Morning. California authorities have uncovered what they call the longest drug tunnel on the state's border with Mexico.
Yesterday, investigators found more than a ton of cocaine and 7 tons of marijuana in the half-mile-long tunnel. They say the tunnel is much more sophisticated than it looks, with ventilation, a series of lights, and other equipment.
On the Mexico side of the border, it is equipped with a commercial large elevator, an elevator that I would estimate could hold 8 to 10 people.
Now, drug smugglers used a dumpster to hide the tunnel and load up drugs. So far, 6 people have been arrested. Investigators say the drugs seized are worth nearly $30 million.
Back in Kentucky, Somerset police are needing help in identifying a pair of theft suspects. Police say this man and woman stole more than $500 from a convenience store. The pictures were posted to the department's Facebook page last night. If you have information, police say you can submit it anonymously.
Doctors gave her just weeks to live, but a Jessamine County teen isn't giving up without a fight. 16-year-old Michaela Coral is battling an aggressive form of brain cancer. She was first diagnosed as a child, but has lived far beyond what doctors predicted. Now, while she's beaten the odds before, doctors now say there's not much more they can do.
8.5 years ago, they gave us a month to a year to live. And we've overcome those odds. Now they're going to try us again. So we're going to fight again.
The Corals plan to make the most of the time they have with Michaela. She will be attending prom on Saturday before the family heads to the beach next week. Now, they've set up a GoFundMe page to help with medical and funeral expenses. We have a link on our website, WKYT.com.
People who call 911 in Frankfort for a medical emergency may not get to the hospital as fast as they think. Frankfort Fire and EMS is changing its policy for treating patients in cardiac arrest. They plan to stay longer at the scene where they will administer CPR. They say the new protocol will help them save more lives.
We have found that by just putting a patient, loading them up, and moving to the ambulance, research again has shown that we have actually not done the proper amount of compressions, and there are actually long periods of time where compression is not being done at all, chest compressions for the patient in the process of moving to the ambulance. Also, once in transport, EMS crews are standing up, they're not secured.
Franklin Fire and EMS says it knows there will be concerns. They are training officers at each station about how to effectively explain to family members what is going on. It will be interesting to follow, you know.
Yeah. A Western Kentucky attraction has a new owner.
David Ray Froggatt, in partnership with a development firm out of Chicago, bought Funtown Mountain at an auction yesterday. Froggatt says he has big plans for the Barron County Park, including cabins, an indoor water park, and an amusement park. In all, the changes could cost up to $20 million.
I remember coming here as a kid, you know, and we're going to aim to make it into something, you know, that people will have memories of and be something clean and decent.
Sounds like a man with a dream. Froggatt grew up in Greene and Metcalfe counties. He and his wife own Froggatt's South 65 Entertainment in Barron County. Froggatt recently acquired the radio station there locally, 99.1, the Hoss, which is down in Edmonton as well. So sounds like he's playing big on the scene down in South Central Kentucky.
Yeah, that could be a fun weekend too. What'd you say, a couple hour drive?
Yeah, once he gets all that going. All right, coming up next, a look at some of what we're working on for you this morning.
Plus, we'll have another look at your morning forecast coming up.
4:57 is the time on WKYT. Our news team busy working on several stories, including an overnight fire in Lexington. And today, we're going to be watching weather. Sounds like the sprinkles are going to be here and there.
Yes, but sprinkles aren't too bad today because I think everyone could use the relief from their sinuses, right? Get that pollen out of here, possibly.
Yeah, that'll clean out the air a little bit at least. And that's what we're going to be seeing today and tomorrow. And like you guys were talking about, this is not widespread rain. This is not some type of rain that everybody actually sees today. It looks like we'll have some light rain, maybe even a rumble of thunder, but for the most part, we're going to stay away from the thunderstorms next couple of days. Temperatures are there in the 60s and 70s now, so you know by the afternoon it's going to feel nice. I'm going to talk about that coming up. Another 2 hours of WKYT News.